We're going to go to Hassan on the line from Slough.
Hi, assalamu alaikum, Maajid.
Salam.
I happen to be amongst the 23% that do support the strikes. Now, in answer to the critics, those who are against intervention, see, there are three scenarios that have played out, past and present. So, number one, the Allied forces did not strike when they should have struck, in the case of Halabja in 1988, when Saddam Hussein used chemical weapons.
Yep.
Number two, the Allied forces striked when they should not have struck, as in the case of Libya and Iraq. And a few years ago, I attended Parliament when Scott Ritter, you may remember, he was the UN weapons inspector. He was saying that there was no evidence of weapons of mass destruction. And at that time, Israel had downgraded the threats from Saddam Hussein. So that should not have happened. In this case of Syria, it was right to strike because there was evidence of chemical weapons, and also in the case of Kosovo, where they did actually intervene. If there's still doubt, ask the people who've been affected by Assad's chemical weapons whether they believe the strike should have happened or not.
It's interesting, isn't it, Hassan, that people often use past mistakes as a reason not to do the right thing now. And, of course, past mistakes, I never supported the invasion of Iraq. I've always remained opposed to it. In fact, I do think that mistake that our leaders made is largely responsible for why Syria was allowed to get into such a mess, the mess it's in now. Because, of course, we would have acted sooner if not for the hangover from Iraq. So it's more responsible even than people realise, I think, because, of course, it's had a drag effect on us, and it's basically acted like a bit of an anchor around our heels, our ankles, and it's prevented us from doing the right thing at the right time. And now we're acting, and we're doing the right thing too late. So it's interesting how a lot of people use the past as a reason not to do the right thing now, and I'm very glad that you've made that distinction, Hassan.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I had to make paint out those three scenarios, because these critics are actually conflating two different things. The case of Iraq, where we should not have intervened, Libya, we should not have intervened, and in fact, Colonel Gaddafi was actually stemming the flow of terrorism into Europe. So,
well, I found myself last night at a dinner making this very case, predicting, in fact, that the strikes were coming very soon. I didn't realise they were coming that very night. But I was at dinner, and I was making this very case, and the person at the opposite end of the table, very politely, mind you, not in any rude sort of way, but the person who was opposing my perspective was a person who had supported the Iraq war and now didn't support these strikes in Syria today. And I said to him, you've got it, you are wrong then, and you're wrong now. You've got it upside down, and it's just unbelievable to me. And of course, that person regretted their support for the Iraq war. And my point was, well, you were wrong then, but you're allowing that trauma to interfere with your objectivity in this particular instance now.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. And I hope whatever happens that this is ended very, very quickly. Otherwise, the doors to Armageddon will be unlocked. Yeah.
Well, I for one, am happy that the care has been taken not to strike any Russian targets, but also it appears to me to be the case that incredible care has also been taken to avoid civilian targets, because the Syrian civilians are the victims in all of this ongoing civil war. And, of course, the regimes that have been victimising them the most not only has been ISIS, but also the Assad regime.